morning. I had a busy weekend. I went and saw my cousin play volleyball. She goes to college in Iowa, but her team was playing 2 games in Kansas. So my parents, my husband and I went and made a little mini trip out of it and went and saw her play 2 games of volleyball, so that was really cool. And then we had kind of a scary weekend. My sister got sick and was in the hospital, so it's just been a crazy weekend. And today so in the middle of all of that craziness, travel and my sister being sick, she's out of the hospital now, or she should be getting out today, so she's getting better. But I had my very first radiology exam today. So we have, and according to the syllabus, we're going to take the exam, and then we are going to continue on with lecture. So it looks like it's just gonna, we've got a little bit of time to do the exam, and then we are going to head straight into more lecture. So we shall see. So, and then today is radiology lab, so it shall be an interesting day. So I was able to get my workbook done for oral-facial anatomy tomorrow, and started studying for the quiz that we have. We're having another in-class quiz tomorrow in oral-facial anatomy, and that was the very first quiz that I took, and I got a C on it. So I'm hoping that I can learn from the online quiz that we took and everything else, all the other quizzes I've taken in the other classes, and hopefully I can do well on this one, because there's not a lot of grades in that class. So I need to do well on these quizzes so that I can hopefully get an A. It's harder to get an A in these classes because you have to get, I think, a 94 to get an A, because they made a 75 is basically a 70. So it makes it, you have to make a higher A in order to still make an A. But I don't know, I have high expectations for myself, and that's what I expect. So I will settle for a B if I have to, but I really, really want to get an A. So anyways, it is a beautiful morning. It's only 78 right now, but it's supposed to get up to, I think it's supposed to be mid-90s today. It is September 16th, and it's supposed to be in the 90s all week. Ugh. Everybody has all of their fall stuff out, pumpkin spice and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I live in Texas, it's too hot for that. But anyways, you guys hopefully had a good weekend, and I'll talk to you guys after class. Bye. Hi everybody. It is Monday afternoon, and I am leaving school after lab. It was so I had my first radiology exam today, and the questions were much more specific on different things than I thought they would be. So it was like, I remember reading the information, but it was just, the details were not, I didn't study the details as often on things that were asked. So I'm pretty sure I passed. I don't think I got an A. As far as B goes, possibly. I don't know. It's just things were, like I said, different than what I thought. And I did study. I made flashcards and a review and read the chapters, and I did all of the right things. I just didn't pay as much attention to detail on the right things, I guess is the best way to put it. Or I thought I knew. I guess there were some things that I didn't go into as much detail reviewing because I thought I knew it, and I did know it, but I didn't know. I wasn't expecting to have so much so many detailed questions on that information. So maybe that was kind of more of the issue. I don't know. It was just, it's the first test, and by that teacher in that class, and it was just needed. It's a learning experience. I mean, I need to learn how to study for that class. And now I have gotten a whole lot of more information. So, and obviously I don't even have the grade yet, so I don't know how I did. I'm still going to have to change how change how I approach it. But, so anyways, tomorrow is oral-facial anatomy and pre-clinic lecture. So for oral-facial anatomy, we are having our second in-class quiz. So the first quiz we had in class, and I got a C on it, and then the second one I got an A on it, but it was online. So I'm a little worried because this quiz is going to be in class again, and I don't know. So I've studied for it. There is going to be labeling on this quiz again, so I went ahead and looked at the PowerPoints, the diagrams that she had. She wanted us to label, and I have those printed off so I can practice labeling them. So, and I'm just going to go through the chapters and just pray that I have the right, look at the right things. So I'm just nervous. There's so much coming at us so quickly that I feel like, things are going to slip through the cracks and everything, it's life, it's the same thing, stuff happening with my sister and everything else, and we were all talking today, and all of us had something that happened over the weekend or didn't go as planned, and so it's life. Things happen, and you have to accomplish your responsibilities in spite of it. So I'm going to do the best I can, and while I prefer to get A's and in the absolute worst of B, I may have to just realize that, I might have to settle for, passing grades. It would like hurt my heart, but, so I'm going to try my hardest, and I'll spend tonight studying, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Hey guys, no scrubs, so that means today is Tuesday. So, yes, the garage door closed. Okay, good. I got my grade for my radiology exam last night, and I got an 80. Now remember, we start at 75. And so instead of a 70 for a C. So that means that technically that 80 would be a C, not a B, but I am going with it. I am happy with that. Well, not happy, but I know now more what to expect, and I think I can change that and get hopefully a A next time, if not an actual B. So, on to what's going on today. Today we have the second in-class oral-facial anatomy quiz. It is on chapter 6 in our embryology books, which is basically the tooth development and maturation and then eruption. So it's a whole lot of information, basically. The fancy word for tooth development is odontogenesis. So just so you know. So odontogenesis is basically what our quiz is on today. Whew, that sun is bright. So it is actually an amazing morning. It is 76 degrees outside. How awesome is that? Now I am wearing jeans today because, not because it's going to be cool outside, it's going to be in the 90s again, but because it is cold in the classroom that we are on Tuesdays. Most days we're in a lab or like a lab type classroom, but on Tuesdays we're actually in a classroom that is controlled by the main college. The dental hygiene clinic actually we can control our own temperature a little bit better, but the college just kind of generally keeps every other room frigid. So it is cold in that room, especially when you're just sitting listening to lecture. Woo! So yeah, I'm wearing jeans so that I can try and retain some of my body heat. But so today is oral-facial anatomy and preclinical. So I think we're going to be talking more about I have something on my visor. Talking more about oral lesions today in preclinical. We had to choose lesions for our for a presentation that's due October 1st. It's going to be kind of like a PowerPoint type presentation, and my presentation is on leukoplakia. So there you go. But it shall be interesting. That's my oral lesion that I chose. So today we'll be doing more with that and maybe finishing up a few things. I think our first competency for preclinical is this week, but I couldn't find it on the syllabus. So I'm a little confused. So I'll have to talk to my teacher, because they were talking about it like we needed to prepare for it for this week, but then it's not on the syllabus that I saw for this week. So, but speaking of competencies, next Thursday, September 26th, we are going to be doing our first competency in radiology. And so we will be taking 13 images, mostly it's going to be the maxillary right periapicals. So central, the central, and then the right periapicals on the maxillary side. And then also a full set of bite wings. So it'll be 13 images. We get 2 retakes. And we have approximately 45 minutes. The instructor said that might change And she said if it changes, we would be given more time, not less time, so we'd have more than 45 minutes to finish. But it has to be, everybody has to finish their competencies within the allotted time, so I don't know how that's going to work. I mean, we have multiple Dexters in rooms and everything, so we can all going at the same time, but they have to kind of watch us, so I'm a little confused on how that's going to work, but we will figure it out next week. So, yep, it shall be exciting. So on Thursday, we will be doing another FMS or FMX full mouth series to practice, how we place all the receptors, how to align them and assemble everything. And so, because of course you get graded on how the radiographs actually turn out, so how diagnostic the x-rays actually are, and then also making sure that you put, even if your x-ray did not come out good enough to be considered diagnostic, did you at least have it in the right area? Maybe not, maybe you didn't have the angulation of the beam, correct, or that sort of a thing, but you at least had it in the right spot. And she was talking about how, you have to make sure that you don't put the bar that holds the receptor, in the patient's mouth and all of that kind of stuff. And we all just kind of laughed, and she's like, you would be surprised. So, yep, we have to make sure we stick the right end in the patient's mouth and get everything lined up. So, yeah, it's going to be a crazy day, and I'll talk to you after class. Bye. Hey guys, it is in the afternoon on Tuesday, and it is hot. Man, going from being in that super cold classroom to it's 94 outside. Man, it is not fun. But, so the oral facial anatomy quiz, it went actually pretty good, I think. I don't have the grade back yet, so obviously I don't know for sure, but I felt like I knew the answer, a lot more of the answers and that sort of a thing, so that's always a good sign. And we started learning, so we'd already learned the tooth numbers, but one of the things that we have to be able to do in, so our final lab practical at the end of the semester is she's basically going to lay down a bunch of teeth, and they won't be in, like the whole mandibular arch or anything like that. It's just going to be one single tooth, and you have to be able to pick up that tooth, look at it, and know what it is, what number it is, and what's the name of the tooth, using the correct terminology, and then the number of the tooth, and then when it erupts. So when the permanent tooth comes in. And so that was really cool. We did, so every day we are going to do so not every day, but every oral facial anatomy class day, we are going to have a kind of mini practical where we'll take the teeth that we learned that day and the teeth that we had learned in the previous weeks, and she'll just pick some and put them out there, and we'll have to quiz ourselves. And it's not for a grade or anything like that. It's just a way to test ourselves and see, how well to remember them and those sorts of things. So that was really cool. And then today in preclinical, I had completely forgotten that we were supposed to bring our instrument kits today to class, and I had it in my car, so it was great. So I had it with me, but it was so cool because we were actually able to get our, open up our cassettes and pick up the instruments, and we started learning about them, what they're called and a little bit on what to use them for. And she wants us to make a graphic organizer that is basically, you are supposed to kind of say, you take the types, because there's instruments that are used for scaling, there's instruments that are used for exploring, and, well, I guess not necessarily, I guess there's ones that are used for, there's pointy instruments, and then there are blunt-ended instruments, or more blunt-ended. And those are, so you have two different categories. So basically she wants you to make a flow chart of all the different dental instruments, and then which ones, we have, because you have several instruments that you could use to do the same thing. So, yeah. So we're supposed to do that, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. There's just so much, and there's, how you're supposed to, and we haven't even gone into how to hold the instruments. We're just learning, this is the, the handle of the instrument. This is the shank of the instrument, and then of course your instruments have toes and feet and and faces. So it was, learning all of this anatomy for a little, metal piece. So it was a lot. And one of the girls said you can take some of the instruments and the names of the different parts of it really relate to golf clubs. So the face of the club and the how you hold it, and I don't do golf, so it didn't make any sense to me, but I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So just different things to know and think about. And so today was a ton of information, but it was really, really fun, because it was, that was the whole point of going into the dental hygiene program, is to learn about these instruments, learn about the teeth, and really be able to apply the knowledge. So it was really cool. Today was a fun day. I am exhausted, and my brain totally needs to recharge. I feel like it's like, oh, there's too much I'm thinking. Like, everything just needs to, I think, settle in for a little bit. But, yeah. So, I will, tomorrow is a preclinic lab, and we are going to be starting our, what did she call them? Skill evaluations. That's what she called them. We're going to be starting our skill evaluations for, well, we should be finishing them. And everybody was like, well, who goes first, and that sort of a thing. And she said she's just going to draw names. So I think we're just going to draw names, and then she's going to put us in an operatory. So hopefully that goes well. So I will tell you guys how it goes. Oh, and then we're also going to be working on charting and doing health histories. So half the class will be doing their skill evaluations, while the other half is learning, actually going in to do EagleSoft and messing with the practicing taking health histories on each other. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. Hey guys, it is Wednesday morning and I am on my way to pre-clinic lab. Today we are going to be doing our skill evaluations on setting up and breaking down the operatories. Sorry, I have to put my sunglasses on real quick. That sun is really bright. And while we have the operatories set up, apparently we're going to practice doing an extraoral exam. So we've never done one before, but we saw one being done, and then we get to so today I think is going to be the first time we're going to actually do it, so it'll be interesting. So and we're going to do a little bit of practice in Eaglesoft working on health histories. So it shall be an interesting day. I will talk to you guys after class. Bye. Hey everybody, so I ran into some traffic on the way to school today, and apparently an 18-wheeler had overturned on the way to school. So they had shut down the road and were diverting people, and long story short, I was 20 minutes late to school. So I had my first tardy today, and it sucks, and you know, especially on a skill eval day, it was very stressful and everything else. But we get 3 tardies before they start counting off, so I just need to leave way earlier, so that's what I'm gonna have to start doing. But the good news is I got 100 on my skill eval, so yay! So first skill eval for preclinical, I got a 100 on it. It was over the setup and breakdown of the operatory, so the disinfecting protocols. That's what it was over, and that's what I did, so yay. And tomorrow I have radiology lab, and I will be doing another full mouth series to prepare us for the competency, the radiology competency on next Thursday. So yep, so today, oh, and we got to practice doing blood pressure on each other, and we got to work a little bit on health history. So, oh, and we got to do an extraoral exam on each other. So it was fun. We really got to play hygienist today again. So doing histories and extraoral exams, and I had a good grade on my skill eval, so all that was great. Tardy, not so great, but everything else was good. So it was a good day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.